people who follow the channel, they kind of know my story. And if you don't know, I started teaching in South Korea. And let's just get into this now about Korea. Just in case you're wondering, in case you haven't started teaching or you're interested in teaching about South Korea, I know that we're bringing Luke on and he bridges that gap between Korea and native speakers. So from my experience as a teacher, I lived and taught in Korea for over 7 years. And
Wow.
I just put some of the pros and challenges that I've observed teachers have. Just a few here. Some of the pros, as Luke said, it is good pay, especially now that here I'm in Spain, and the pay in Korea is probably not quite double, but it's quite a bit more for both private classes and academy and school classes. So
Wow.
if money is your, like, you want to get out, you want to get abroad and travel the world, see a different culture, that's great. And the pay is great in South Korea. What's more, it's easy to get started. In most places, you don't need a TEFL certificate. You don't need any sort of specific experience. Of course, it always helps, but you don't need it. It's easy to get started. And I mean, the people, I've said it before, they are some of the most hospitable people that I've met, like as a culture, I mean, very welcoming to foreigners. And as we said in a previous interview with Peter, who lived there, like, they're very generous to foreigners who speak Korean poorly. They're always willing to help. Right? Isn't that true?
Yeah, that's totally correct. Yeah.
And but some of the challenges is it is a very different culture with the food. Not for me. I love trying different exotic foods. I like I'll try it. If it's in front of me, I'll eat it. But I've seen a lot of people struggle a little bit. It's very spicy and it's different. The social norms you'd have to get used to. There are some social norms that we're just not used to, like culture. Right?
Yeah, which I'm gonna cover maybe like later.
Perfect.
In our conversation.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect. And the professional culture, right? They're a little more professional. The dress is a little higher standard. It's just a different culture. Yeah. And of course the language, right? So these are some challenges that pros. If you're looking to get started in teaching English, that's where I started. And it's a great place to get started. But Luke, based on your observations, what have your observations been about the Korean teaching landscape, teaching with Koreans and for Koreans?
Let's see. I think you tapped into quite a few interesting kind of points that I think I'm going to talk about it, but I'm going to actually go in depth a little bit, right? So if you don't mind, so let me just share my perspective, right? First of all, if you want to be a teacher, right, English teacher, you got to ask yourself, why do you want to be an English teacher, right? And do you simply just want to make money? That's why, and you want to teach English because, English is your language, right? You're born and raised up with English, surrounded by English people all the time, right? And I think, if that's the case, you may have to think twice because teaching English might not be as easy as you think it is. Korean people, they don't speak English, right? Of course, there are a lot of nowadays, young people, they speak English.
Can you define that? Because I think a lot of Koreans do speak English, but what do you mean by Koreans don't speak English?
No, what I'm trying to say is that, a lot of people on the street, for instance, right? And they are really afraid to speak English to the people, right? Young generation nowadays, and they're more welcoming, they speak English better than before, but still in general, and they have this kind of fear to speak English. Do you know what I'm saying, right? So if you just think that once I go to South Korea and, I don't have to learn Korean language, English is going to work out. But that might not be the case, depending on where you're located, right? So recently, I had a chance to talk to this lady from Canada, right? And her name is Jamia, I believe. And then she said, I assumed before I went to South Korea, everybody's going to speak English pretty well because Korean is very well known for this high fever of English education. So that's what she assumed until she came later. She found out that that was not the case because she was actually dispatched to this very local university in Jeolla province, which is pretty far away from Seoul, right? Yeah, so she had a really hard time even finding that university, and then she was struggling a lot. And then she learned the lesson. You know what I'm saying?
I
So
guess so,
my
in
point,
smaller
yeah,
villages,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
In
yeah,
smaller
yeah.
towns.
So my point is that like, let's get I think I went off on a tangent a little bit. So let's go back. And my question is, you gotta ask yourself why you wanna teach English, right? Because if you can really answer that question, then I think you're not ready to come to South Korea yet.
What do you
Do you
mean?
know what I'm saying?
Um, what do you mean you're not ready to come? Do you mean to start teaching in general, or to experience such a different culture as a Korean, as the
Yeah,
Korean culture?
yeah. Let me put it this way. You know, so okay, I want to teach English, and maybe South Korea is pretty decent place to start my career as a teacher, right? And but a lot of people, they spontaneously, you know what? Hey, I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna start teach. I'm gonna apply, right? And then I think they didn't think enough before they make a final decision. They are very hasty in terms of their decision.
Hmm.
And then later, and so like once they came to South Korea and they didn't expect what they're experiencing, that's when they regret. You know, seeing quite a few people who didn't know anything about South Korea, and once they came to South Korea and they realized that this was not what they dreamed about.
Interesting.
So yeah,
Is
so my
that what
question,
you've seen in your experience?
yeah, I've seen quite a few expats in South Korea who were always complaining about their decision to come to South Korea, but they already made a decision to come to South Korea, and they already made a contract staying for 1 year in South Korea. That's why they get stuck, right? And I think you wouldn't enjoy as much as you prepared before you came here, right? So my advice is that before you come, and please research about Korea and why do you want to teach English in South Korea, right? Yeah. So,
Okay.
and that's the first question I think you need to ask yourself. And if you think the answer to the question is very clear, okay, I think I'm ready, right? I'm really passionate about teaching in South Korea. Okay, I'm learning some basic Korean language right now. Yeah, that's the sign that you're getting ready to come to South Korea. It makes sense,
Interesting.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
makes a lot of sense, and
yeah,
that's an interesting take.
yeah.
And an interesting first question to ask yourself, because it is kind of a big step. You're going halfway across the world, around the world, and
Mhm.
entering yourself in this completely new experience. But
Oh, yeah.
can I answer that? Uh, can I give you an input
Oh, yeah,
based
sure, of
on
course,
my
yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
experience?
Absolutely.
It's kind of funny that you say like um, that is your first advice, because when I first started, I
Mhm.
completely went against that advice. Right? I had decided
Wow.
that, but I'm gonna
Yeah,
join this with agreeing with you actually,
yeah.
um, because I had decided my English teaching journey started here in Seville, Spain, where I am now, and I wanted to live and teach here. And
Mhm.
like I said before, it is easy and good pay to go to South Korea. I had planned to go there for 1 year to get experience and come back here.
Yeah.
I liked my stay, so I re-signed again and again and again, and I went to a different school and signed again and again and
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
And but my point is, I had made that decision in May. By August, I was in Korea teaching.
Mhm.
So that was just a really spur of the moment, but that's me. I make
Mhm.
all, that's why I just started this podcast. I started it and then I decided, and then the next day I just started. So I'm winging it and figuring it out. And now I'm in season 2.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but I will go with you saying like, know yourself, right?
Mhm.
Maybe you do need an answer. If you're a very like strict, regimented, like, I don't want to say narrow-minded, that's negative, but you kind of are very organized in your life, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely ask yourself, why do I want to teach English? But
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
prepare yourself that you are going to a different place and you are a visitor, you are a guest. Hey guys, I'm sitting here with my daughter, Sophia. She's recording this, and I just want to thank you for watching this video. If you like it and you want to see another video like it, then right next to me, you can click another video for a fun lesson idea or a teaching tip. And don't forget to subscribe and click the bell so you get new videos every week. Keep teaching and keep learning. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.